Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. This is my first assignment for air distribution Bmmh 3563. So we are from 3 Bmmh section 1/1 and we are from group 5. So this my name is Nabil Aiman bin ALIAS and this is my group member NORAIMAN NAIM bin IBRAHIM, PARANY anak lelaki SURENDRAN, UMARUL HAKIMI bin HARUN and Wan Ahmad SYAKIR bin Wan Ahmad SALAHUDDIN. So for our first team, we will present about the exhaust and ventilation system. So the definition of ventilation. The ventilation is the process of changing or replacing air in any space to provide high indoor air quality, which is the fresh air. The ventilation includes both the exchange of air from indoor to the outside as well as circulation of air within the building. Ventilation is used to remove unpleasant smells and excessive moisture. Ventilation is one of the most important factors for maintaining acceptable indoor air quality in building. So in general, ventilation is divided into three types, such as natural ventilation, mechanical ventilation, and hybrid ventilation. So for natural ventilation is use of wind and air density differences to create airflow in and through building. Natural ventilation is achieved by opening window, door and some crack made below the ceiling. Natural ventilation is use of wind and thermal buoyancy to create air movement in and out without the use of mechanical system, with the goal of bringing fresh air into indoor. The second type is mechanical ventilation, which is the forced ventilation. The system supplies the required airflow at a constant rate. Ventilation is supplied by forcing air through the ducting with the use of a fan. Mechanical ventilation system usually have one or more fans which are designed to create a draft which pulls air away from an area where exhaust is generated. Both new existing require mechanical ventilation to maintain indoor air quality. Consequently, there are four mechanical ventilation systems to choose, which is exhaust, supply, balance, and energy recovery. The third type of general ventilation is hybrid ventilation. This ventilation is the mix of natural and mechanical ventilation. It uses mechanical ventilation where the natural ventilation flow rate is too low. Hybrid ventilation system are excellent for buildings with lower ceiling height or less heat generated by the process. It combines both natural and mechanical ventilation. So for the energy recovery ventilation system, it is included by any technique or method to minimize the input of energy. The energy recovery ventilation ERV is the energy recovery process of exchanging the energy contained in normally exhausted building or space and using it to treat the incoming outdoor ventilation air in any residential and commercial HVAC system. There are two types of energy recovery system. The first one is heat recovery ventilator HRV and energy recovery ventilator ERV. These both types include a heat exchanger, one or more fans to push the air through the machine and control. There is also some small wall or indoor mounted models, but the majority are central. Whole house ventilation system with their own duct system or shared ductwork. The main difference between a heat recovery and energy recovery ventilation is the way it heat the exchanger works. So the energy recovery ventilation system require more maintenance than the other ventilation system. They need to be cleaned regularly to prevent deterioration of ventilation rates and heat recovery, and also to prevent mold and bacteria on heat exchanger surface. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Ya, Assalamualaikum. Okay. Good design is very important for exhaust and ventilation. Only design can become a safe waste of and may if a fault anticipation of hazard control. Those are the points that needed for design consideration. There are three more principles. First, system component. Second, process consideration. Third is aerodynamic consideration. For system components, there are five components. First thing, a food or solid cell capture the contaminant fluid to the point of generation. Second, ductwork to convey the contaminant away from the source. Third, filter or air cleaning device to capture and remove contaminants from the extracted airstream. Fourth, fan or air moving device to provide the necessary airflow. And the last is ductwork to discharge clean air to the external atmosphere at a suitable point. For the second point is a system. For the second point is a process consideration. First, type of job done and specific requirement of the worker. Second, place, time the contaminant is being generated. And third, physical state of the contaminant. For toxicity, 5, relevant workplace exposure limit. These are the process consideration that need to be considered in design consideration. And lastly, aerodynamic consideration. Food and associate connection should be designed. Capture food should be as close as possible to the contaminant source. Next, ductwork must be as simple as possible and the number of directional change in mind. And finally, clean air must be discharged to atmosphere at a suitable point. So these are three most principles that are important in design consideration. So as a summary for this team's exhaust and ventilation system, efficient IAQ is strengthening the health of indoor occupants in every type of home and building, and the problem is worsening with growing structural stagnation. That's bad news. The good news is that we have a solution, mechanical ventilation, and that four different types exist: exhaust, supply, balance, and energy recovery. By implementing one of these systems, the result will be enhanced IAQ and improved occupant well-being. So that's all from first for stream 1, exhaust and ventilation system. I will pass to my friend. Thank you.
Okay, hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Our team 2 is about code and standard. So, uh, okay, I will talk about building code requirement. So, building code requirement is a set of rules that specify the standard for construct objects such as building and non-building structure. Building must conform to the code to obtain planning permission, usually from the local council. The main purpose of building code is to protect public health, safety, and general welfare as they relate to the construction and occupancy of building and structure. The building code become law of a particular juris, jurisdiction when formally by the appropriate governmental or private authority. So, what the function of the building code requirement? The function of this code is to have a lower construction cost and provide standard in construction. It also reduce hazard. So, this code also provide minimum requirement to protect health, safety, and general welfare. Who responsible for who responsible for this code? First is uh right. First is building safety professional. and permit administration. So when this code will be applied, this code will be applied to a new building. It's not necessary to existing building such as for renovation. Alright, so next I will pass to Umarul. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. I will present to you about the codes and standard definition, which is a code is a model, a collection of guidelines that experts advise others to follow. It's not a law, but it has a potential to become one. A standard is a more in-depth version of a code. It could be characterized as an acceptable or desired level of quality of or achievement. There are two ASHRAE standards codes, which is 90.1 and 62.1, which is 90.1 is energy standards for building except for the low rise residential building. There are three type of equipment type for the uh, cooling tower, which is propeller or axial fan, centrifugal fan, and air cool condenser. For the propeller or axial fan, which is this the requirement for rating condition is 35 degrees Celsius entering water, 29 degrees Celsius leaving water, and 24 degrees wet bulb outdoor air, and 3.23 liter per kilowatt for the performance required. And then for the centrifugal fan is 35 degree Celsius entering water, 29 degree Celsius leaving water, 24 wet bulb outdoor air, and 1.7 liter per kilowatt for the performance required. And lastly, for the air cool condenser is 52 degrees Celsius condensing temperature, which is using R22 test fluid, 88 degrees Celsius entering gas temperature, 8 degree Celsius subcooling, and 35 degree Celsius entering DB. And lastly is for the rating condition is 176,000 BTU per hour. And for the last code is ASHRAE standard 62.1, which is natural ventilation. Natural ventilation is system shall be designed in accordance with section 6. What is section 6? The section 6 is the ventilation IAQ procedure, which is first is ventilation rate procedure is outdoor intake rates are determined based on space type. Second is floor area to be ventilated is located within a distance between ceiling height. Third is corner opening is operable on two adjacent sides of space. And lastly is natural ventilations, which is outdoor air is provided through opening outdoors. That's all from me. I will pass it to Parani.
Thank you, Umarul, and hello to my fellow friends. Today, I'm going to explain about the other codes and the standards and the source of the information. First of all, I want to explain about the codes and standards. Building codes specifically minimum standards for the construction for buildings. The codes themselves are not legally binding. They serve rather as models for legal jurisdictions to utilize when the developing statutes and regulations. The main purpose of building codes are to protect public health, safety, and general welfare as related to the construction and occupancy of building and structures. The building codes become law of particular jurisdiction when formally enacted by the appropriate governmental or private authority. There are a few building codes and standards. First, the International Code Council (ICC) is dedicated to developing model codes and standards used in design, build and compliance process to construct safe, sustainable, affordable, and resilient structures. The second is state local building codes. It provides links to detailed information on building codes for all 50 states, major cities, and some counties. And finally is the International Green Construction Code. It established minimum green requirements for building with the goal to make building more efficient, reduce the waste, and have a positive impact on health, safety, and community welfare. So we can find the source information by searching in websites, and there are a few books. For example, like International Building Code and the National Electoral Code, and etc. And that's all from me. Thank you so much.
So that's all from group 5. Thank you.